Welcome back to ciLiving. As you make your summer plans, you might want to put finding a good sunscreen on your to-do list. Meteorologist Adam Sherwinski is back to tell you exactly what you should wear SPF-wise.
We just talked a little bit ago, right?
We did just talk. We were talking about haboobs and dust storms.
Yeah.
But if there's not a dust storm and it's a bright, sunny, wonderful day, why is it important to wear sunscreen?
Because UAV and UVB light can really cause, or waves can cause problems here. Now, there's three types of UV waves we get here. There's UVA, UVB, and UVC. Now, the good news is UVC is filtered through the ozone layer. If we didn't have the ozone layer, it'd be bad, really bad. The sun is a deadly laser, and that's from a quote from Bill Wirtz there, the History of the World, I guess, video on YouTube. But I will say that it's dangerous, but the ozone protects us from that. That's up towards the stratosphere, above where we are, meteorologists stay in the troposphere. Stratosphere is a little bit higher up, but they're the ones that kind of, the ozone is what really filters that out. So that's great news. We don't have to worry about UVC. It's UVB and UVA. Now, UVA can cause wrinkling and, some aging there.
Right.
So no one wants to look, wants to have those issues, right? So we wear sunscreen to protect from that. But also, UVA can still cause cancers, too, as well as can UVB. Those are the longer, the other waves, too. So again, all those UV lights or UV waves can cause issues here from sunlight.
Right.
And so there's different kinds. You can do sunblock, sunscreen. Sunscreen's in the name. It screens some of that. So you still get some of that light in you. You get some of that radiation absorption there from the UV lights. But it's not a complete total as if you were not wearing anything. And you get less of the photons. Right. And the higher your SPF is on your sunscreen, the less you're going to get. It's going to be more of a filter. So more sensitive skin, the higher the SPF. Less sensitive skin, lower SPF. You can wear, what you need to wear, but it's more of a play by ear kind of thing. And some skin types are very sensitive. Some parts of your skin, your body, are more sensitive than other parts. My arms are pretty good about absorbing sunlight, but I'll tell you right now, my chest, not so much, because I wear shirts all the time. So I got a definite farmer's tan. So
I was going to say you kind of have to get that sort of summer base layer down first with a lot of sun protection on there, and then sort of work your way up and kind of get used to it.
And those people are probably asking, what about sunblock? And that's what it does. It blocks.
It blocks the sun.
It kind of reflects it. So with different chemical things, the chemicals that you find in sunscreen, again, screen through it, you still get some of that absorption, because you do want some of that sunlight absorbed too for vitamin D and all that. You still want to have that vitamin D from the sunlight here. Also, but the sunblock just completely negates it. So it gets rid, it bounces right off. They use different chemical compounds in sunscreen. Again, just things to keep in mind, just based on what everyone has different color skin, or different kinds of skin. So it kind of all depends. There's some people that have really sensitive skin. There's some people who tan very easily. There's some people, like, I'm going to drop names here, Mitchell Reif, who will completely burn when he goes out in the sunshine there. So again, I'm name dropping my co-anchors. I'm just letting you know.
Right, exactly. So,
he admits he burns very easily.
Yes. And speaking of those chemicals that you were talking about, not all sunscreens are created equally. Like this one that I have that specifically says it's for kids is free of parabens and dyes and fragrances and things like that. So essentially this one has a little bit of that sensitive skin protection, but it also is free of oxybenzone, which a
lot of them are getting away from that, I think, too.
Because that is what is really bad for coral reefs. So if you are ocean swimming, you want to be careful to make sure that you're using reef-safe sunscreen. Or if you do get burnt and then are using hydrating gel, there are certain brands that actually specifically make sunscreen that is better for the ocean, the environment, the reef environment, things like that. And you definitely want to make sure that you are putting on sunscreen when you're in the water.
Right.
That was going to be my other question for you, is how often do we need to be applying and reapplying?
It depends on whether you have sunblock, sunscreen, how much of the water, how long you're going to be outside, how often you need to reapply. It all kind of depends. There's a lot of factors. I'm making it sound very vague, but that's because it is kind of vague in that regard. So again, it all kind of has to be one of those where you look at the bottle, think about, okay, this is what I'm using it for. This one is a banana boat sport that I bought the other day because we were playing pickleball and I didn't want to get sunburned. So I've got that right now for me. And I have a little bit higher protection, but that's because I really don't want to get any sunburn anytime soon.
And I feel like an alternative to sunscreen, if you're very sensitive to sunscreen, or if you have kids that just absolutely refuse.
I don't like sunscreen really that much either.
Still, or get slathered on, our SPF sun protection
Oh,
clothing.
yeah. And
so
I've got sun hoodies. Sun hoodies are my
Yes.
favorite thing. In fact, I think I just ordered one the other day,
Right.
or earlier today. Sun hoodies are great because they still give you that lightweight, breathable, they're very fine material, and still a hoodie, so you can put the hood up, but it protects your arms, your torso, your head from that. You don't have to put as much sunscreen on, or any at all, depending on what the circumstances are. And it's really nice to have that. There's also shirts that are like that, sun shirts that are like that. I don't know if they make shorts in different kind of materials. I don't know.
Yeah, they do, and they make sun protection pants, but you do have to be careful that the more that you wash those, that sort of built-in sun protection eventually does fade out in a wash.
And my sun hoodie has seen better days, my main one. So I've got some new ones that are on the way. So I got to keep filtering them in and out and switching them in and out. But I will say, very light, breathable material, and seeing a lot of fishermen use that too, which makes sense since they're on the water. Golfers have used it too. So again, they're outside for a good chunk of time. Very useful to have that kind of material. Or wearing a hat. I always wear a hat outside of work.
Always wear a hat.
So yeah, if you ever see me out and about in town, and you're like, "Is that Adam?" If I'm wearing a hat, 9 times out of 10, it's me. So
great.
Because I want to make sure I'm protecting myself.
Yes. Well, thank you for all of this information about the sun. I always learn so much when you're here about the weather.
I'm not that.
And definitely wear your sun protection. Well, if you have a question for Adam, you can email him at Sherwinski@WCIA.com, or you can find us on social media. Well, coming up right after the break, see how you can lend a helping hand as Crisis Nursery shares some upcoming programs. We will be right back in just a few minutes, and Adam is ready to go to the park.